We no longer have united factions for Rebuilding Glory and Tactics Evolved. A very big change to the game. I want to talk about if I think it's a good thing or a bad thing, as well as a contest going on in-game with the new Red Book updates. And the winner of that contest is going to win $100 worth of gems, courtesy of the dev. So if you want to find out how to do that, or about these new changes and what I think their impact on the game is going to be, stay tuned because that's coming up in just 1 second. Now, starting out, there is a contest going on, like I mentioned, called the Abyssal Expedition. It is from June 20th. It is currently June 23rd as of this video being released, so we're still very early in this contest. So you got lots of time if you want to try and get this done, but it's called Challenge 1, Master of Breakthrough. Dear Tacticians, Red Book of Watchmart, Abyssal Expedition, Round 1 Challenge, Master of Breakthrough has started. A little bit long in the name, I'm not going to lie, we could probably work on that, but we'll ignore that. It's time to show everyone your wisdom and courage. Participation, complete Red Book Stage 30 with 2 stars or more within a limited time. And then number 2, send your stage clearance screenshot to Discord Red Book Challenge channel along with your nickname. So I will link this image as well as the channel link down below so you can see where to submit your screenshot if you do want to partake in this. And again, you can win up to $100. It's 23,000 gems. So I guess a little bit less than $100 is 24,000 gems now, at least in America. So 23,000 gems to the winner. Not a bad deal. So if you want to check that out, information's down below. But now let's talk about the upcoming campaign changes. All right, continuing on after we talked about that, I want to talk about the changes to United Factions, or UFs, I'm going to call them, because saying United Factions over and over again is going to get annoying. So UFs have been removed from the game. Rebuilding Glory, Tactics Evolved, all the servers that had that feature are now gone. And if you did not know, when you UF with someone, it's basically like they're operating as a different fellowship in your faction. They have purple tiles. There are some restrictions with different regions and how things are owned, but for all intents and purposes, and for end of season rewards, you operate as one group. And my issue with this is I think it can really slow down or end servers. If there are, let's put a little shape on the screen here, a little triangle, for example. If there are 3 groups in a server and 2 of them unite, let's say they're relatively close in activity and power level. Obviously, there can be outliers, there can be unique situations, there can be really powerful groups or bigger groups, whatever. Let's just say they're close to the same activity and size as groups and power. If 2 of them unite, they're going to beat the other group, and then the server's over. And if you have a server where there's 3 active groups and maybe like 5 small groups, you have a big group unite, they take out the other threat, and then the other groups basically are going to surrender. That's how it works in a lot of servers. You've probably been in one yourself. And so I think removing united factions is going to allow servers to have a little bit more flexibility and hopefully a little bit more, I don't know, chaos. I don't think chaos is the right word. I don't want chaotic servers. But ideally, you know, one group attacks one group, another group attacks you, which causes you to react, and another group moves. And it just this cycle that goes on, ideally for an entire season. And now, again, obviously, in best case scenario, there are much more than 3 active groups. I think if every server could have 8 to 10 active groups, so there really is a lot of different variables. And when one group moves and makes decisions strategically, other groups react, and that changes the dynamic on the map. And that just happens throughout the course of a season, until the season timer is actually there. And then it really comes down to what your success has been long-term in the season, not just like, oh, we united and beat this group in a day and that's it. Because I've legitimately been in servers where we've been beaten or beaten groups very, very quickly because they're small, like less active groups, they're whatever it is, or we were the less active group or the smaller group, and you have like one major battle where you hold out for a little bit and then it's basically done. Like you never stop getting pushed back, you never recover, you never get resources back, and it's just this cascading effect where you pretty much are just done at that point. So all that being said, with I think this being a good update, and with I think the game going in a good direction, we're moving towards like the location, like geographical factions are going away, united factions are going away with it. You spawn in on the map in a region, and that, you know, then you can pick what starting troops you're going to have based on those regions. So we're moving towards like the Kings of Men style of things. I think we need one more thing in the game, and I'd love to hear what you guys think. Now, I know every time I do a video about like this is what this game needs, someone's like, that's not what we need. We need this. Like, we need a lot of stuff. So I think I'm trying to highlight important things. So bear with me. But I think what this game needs is some kind of home kingdom safe zone that cannot be accessed for a majority or at all during this season. So I'll put a map on the screen and kind of illustrate very, very quickly. My art skills are just flawless here. Basically put, let's say there are 4 groups or 5 groups or whatever it is that spawn in. The area immediately surrounding their capital or homeland or whatever it is is not accessible by enemy players, whether it be a crossing that is just under protection forever. I don't know. Again, there'd be some kind of foolproof way, ideally, where even, you know, players couldn't switch factions or do whatever if they had tiles in that area. The game would have proved that. But basically, those areas would be safe forever. So players move out and they attack and they advance and they get pushed back over the course of a season. Events are happening and groups expand, ideally towards the ring, moving on into the center of the map. But as groups get beat or pushed back, their main resource area, their tiles, whatever it is, where they're mock battling, where they're just getting the resources and gathering, isn't touched, so they can continue fighting. Because again, the big issue we have is you have one big fight and you move forward on the map with someone to a point where eventually you have to go through a crossing or a tunnel and you fight in their land or they fight in your land. And whoever wins is going to start wearing their opponent down. They start taking resources and all these things. And eventually, it's not even an eventually, it's like very quickly groups are beaten and seasons are over. So we have seasons like the last one I was just in, that was probably 4 weeks long, if that. And then it was just completely dead because one team took over the entire map and there was no safety. I had like less than 10 tiles the entire season. You can't sustain any type of fighting with 10 tiles. You can't level up commanders. And so you go and you get one trade. And even if you have a very positive trade, it doesn't matter. They have so many more things than you. So it's just not a balanced experience. So yes, there are many, many things we need. I think we need more active servers. I think we need a better registration process that allows several groups to sign in. I honestly think they should do away with solo signups. I don't know, people wouldn't like that, but I think you should have to sign up with a team and you can't launch into a campaign until your team reaches a certain size. And I think each server should have the capacity to facilitate whatever number of teams, a large amount of teams that we feel like could keep things active. And there's some kind of a safe zone. I don't know. I think something like that would ideally allow for players, even if they're getting beat and even over the course of a season, if your enemy's advancing and taking critical points and they're increasing in power, it's not this huge deficit where it's just this like teeter-totter where as soon as you lose, it just tips in their direction and you're done. But at least allows you to still fight and do things and have some strength. And at least when you go in and fight, you can actually fight and do a few fights before your barracks is empty and you're out of resources. But in the way it currently is, it's kind of a mess. So, but I'm curious what you guys think. What do you think about the new changes, getting rid of United Factions? Because I personally think it's a step in the right direction. I can't imagine, the only thing I can think of is really, really big groups that would utilize UFing to get groups together. That's something I think of that wouldn't like it. And listen, if you're a part of the big group, I get it. It's if that's your group. I've been a part of bigger groups, probably not the biggest groups in the games by any means, but I've been part of more than one fellowship groups. And so when they introduced Bag End and made it, and we're splitting servers, that's when we decided, hey, this isn't the direction the game's going in. We kind of split off to one group. It sucked because you're used to doing things one way. So I get that. But overall, in terms of the health of the game, when players get beat down by hundreds of players, it's just not fun. When you're a group that goes in that's like semi-active and you've got 80 people, it's beat down by 300 who always play together and are on all the time, and account share, like it's not fun. So I'm curious what you guys think. What things do you think we need in terms of server balance and other major campaign changes? What do you think will help balance out this game so everyone can have a good experience? At the end of the day, I know there's going to be a winner and a loser. I very much am a competitive person. I want to be the winner every single season. If you check my history, you'll see that's not the case. But there's a difference between competing and having a good time in a season and losing because, they made better decisions or they were more active or whatever it is, and just losing because there was an imbalance. They had more players, they had more fellowships in their faction, more whatever, and it just you got wrecked. That's just not fun. So let me know what you guys think. I'm a big fan of it, but that's gonna do it for this one. I'm pumped for the updates. I'm happy with the direction the game's going in. I honestly am. I just want to see it keep going in this direction, and I don't want radio silence for 6 months now. So let me know what you guys think. That'll do it for me, and I'll see you guys in the next one.